The sky was overcast that morning, a soft grey sky. You felt something twist deep in your chest. And then you saw her, Haeun, sitting cross-legged on a blanket, coloring another lopsided family portrait in pink and yellow. When she looked up and saw you, she squealed and ran full speed into your arms. You came. You knelt down and hugged her tight, tighter than you ever had. Of course I did. She looked up at Jungkook. Did you bring her to take me home? He gave her a soft smile and crouched beside you. We came to talk to you first. Talk about what? Your hands were shaking now. Jungkook looked at you, silently asking if you were okay. You nodded, even as your eyes began to burn. He took Hayan's small hands in his. Do you remember when I said I wanted to be your Appa? She nodded excitedly. You said you would adopt me when you find someone nice. He smiled, but there was pain behind it, a memory, a ghost. I found her, he said softly. I found someone really nice. Someone who makes me smile when I forget how. Someone who is already starting to love you. Hyun blinked and turned to you. You? You swallowed the lump in your throat. If you'll have me. Her eyes filled instantly. You mean I get both of you? She whispered, like forever? Jungkook nodded, his voice came out thick with emotion. Forever. And then she broke, not in loud tears or dramatic cries. She simply buried her face in your neck and held on like you were the only thing keeping her from floating away. I knew you would come, she whispered. You gently ran your fingers through her hair. I was just waiting to find you. While Hyun went inside with a caretaker to grab her things for a day out, you and Jungkook sat on a small wooden bench by the playground. He was unusually quiet. You glanced over. What are you thinking? He stared at the gravel. I used to hate visiting places like this. You waited. My parents died when I was 10. Car accident. I stayed with an uncle who didn't really want me around. No orphanage, but no love either. Just a roof. You didn't speak, just listen. I hated feeling like a burden, so I grew up fast, got cold, calculated, safe. He turned to look at you. Until you walked into my office with a sarcastic mouth and a broken stapler and told me my file system was a crime against humanity. You let out a soft laugh, already blinking back tears. You didn't just make me feel again. He whispered, you made me want. Your breath caught. I want this, you, her, a life that doesn't feel borrowed. The weight of those words pressed into you, slow and reverent. He reached for your hand, threading his fingers through yours. I don't know how to be a perfect father, but I know I love her. I already do, and I know I love you even more each day. I already do that too. Your lips parted, but for a second nothing came out. You weren't even sure what you were feeling. Gratitude, love, fear, maybe all of it. I. You swallowed thickly, glancing down at your joined hands before lifting your eyes back to his. I'm scared too, Jungkook. This, everything, it's still so new. Us, her. I don't know if I can be a good mother. I've never done this. I don't want to disappoint her or you. He was already shaking his head gently like he had been expecting that answer all along. You will try. That's already more than what she's had. Your eyes welled up and he tightened his hold, thumb brushing soft circles on your wrist. I didn't fall in love with the idea of you, he whispered. I fell in love with your heart, and today when you knelt beside Haeun and wiped her tears like she was already yours, I saw it. The kind of love I've always hoped she would receive from someone who didn't just feel responsible for her, but who chose her, who wants to love her. You blinked. I saw the love I wanted to see in the woman I would raise Hyun with, and that love, it was already in your eyes. You let out a trembling breath, chest aching from holding so much. I just don't want to fail her, you whispered. Or you. Jungkook leaned closer, forehead almost brushing yours. You won't. You are already trying, and that's how I know. How? You asked softly, still afraid. He smiled, the kind of smile that felt like home. Because my heart, it only beats for you. It always has, and I know it will forever. And somehow in that moment, your fear didn't disappear, but it softened. It loosened its grip, just enough to let in the belief that maybe, just maybe, this could be the kind of love that builds families, not breaks them. Just then Hyun came running out with a tiny pink backpack and a paper crown on her head. Let's go, I'm ready. You laughed as she barreled toward you, grabbing both of your hands. Wait, wait, she said, eyes wide. Before we go, can I call you something? Your heart paused. She looked at Jungkook for permission. He gave the tiniest nod. She turned back to you, voice trembling. Can I call you Mom? And just like that, the tears came. You didn't answer with words. You pulled her into your arms and held her so tight the universe itself could have disappeared and you wouldn't have noticed. Yes, you breathed into her hair. Yes, baby, you can call me Mom. Jungkook leaned in, wrapping both of you in his arms, and for the first time in his life, he wasn't cold anymore. He was home. It started with pancakes. You were still in your pajamas, an oversized tee, and your hair in a barely there bun, standing barefoot in Jungkook's kitchen while Hyun sat on the counter beside a bowl of flour, wearing one of his hoodies as a dress and pretending she was the head chef. Too much milk. Do you really know anything except flirting and being a perfect secretary and a cute mommy? She gasped dramatically, wagging a spoon at you. You laughed, sticking out your tongue. You are lucky you are cute. Jungkook walked in wearing grey sweats and a smile that looked like it only existed for mornings like this. His hand found your waist from behind, his lips brushing your temple in a soft kiss before he scooped Hyun up into his arms. Chef, are you bullying my fiancé? He asked, raising a brow. You froze. He froze. Hyun, of course, gasped. You're gonna marry? For real? You blinked. Wait, fiancé? Jungkook set Haeun down slowly, turning to you, suddenly sheepish. Okay, I didn't plan to blurt it like that, but yeah, I mean it. You stared, heartbeat hammering like a drum. We are building a family. I want to marry you, not just because of the adoption process, but because I love you, and I know it's fast. I know we are still figuring things out, but. He paused, eyes flickering to Hyun as she happily licked pancake batter off her fingers. When something feels this right, you don't wait for perfect timing. You create it. You bit your lip, emotions rising like a wave. But we haven't even met my family yet. Then let's fix that. It was nerve wracking. No matter how confident you were about your relationship, you hadn't brought anyone home in years. Your parents were warm hearted, traditional, and deeply loving, but protective, especially since you were their only child. You spent the entire 3 hour drive with Jungkook practicing polite conversation in the car while Hyun slept in the back seat, wrapped in her pink unicorn blanket. He wore a crisp shirt and nervous energy like Colin. You had never seen him so quiet. They love you, you said softly, reaching across to hold his hand. I know they will. Your childhood home smelled the same cinnamon and clean laundry. As the car rolled to a stop in front of the house, your heart thudded with a mix of nerves and nostalgia. The garden your mother lovingly tended was still in full bloom, marigolds, hibiscus, a few bright sunflowers. You stepped out first, smoothing your dress and turning to help Hayan, who blinked up at the unfamiliar surroundings, clutching her little stuffed rabbit tightly. Jungkook joined you a moment later, gently lifting Hyun into his arms. His other hand found yours as you both walked up the steps. When your mother opened the door, she didn't even blink, just took one long look at Jungkook, then at Hyun, sleepily rubbing her eyes against his shoulder, and then at you. She opened her arms wide and pulled all three of you into her embrace. You finally brought them home. She whispered into your ear, voice thick with emotion. You felt Jungkook tense slightly beside you, but her warmth and sincerity must have melted something inside him because he whispered a soft thank you almost inaudibly. Your father was quieter, just like always. He stepped forward, shaking Jungkook's hand firmly with both hands. So you're the man my daughter couldn't stop talking about in her journal, he said with a half smile. You froze. Dad! He chuckled. Relax, I never read it, but your mom did, and she told me everything. Jungkook turned a shade pinker, bowing slightly. I'll do my best to make you proud, sir. You already did. Your father said simply, then turned his attention to Hyun. And who is this little princess? I'm Hyun, she said shyly, hiding her face. He smiled, disappearing into the kitchen, and returned a minute later with a bowl of freshly cut strawberries. Welcome to the family, Hyun. The afternoon passed like a soft breeze. The four of you sat under the garden umbrella, sipping iced tea and laughing over old stories your mom shared, like the time you tried to climb the mango tree in your new dress, or the time you ran away because your parents wouldn't let you keep a stray puppy. Hyun, despite her earlier shyness, took to everything like sunshine to flowers. She tugged on her father's sleeve to show him how fast she could run. She fed Jungkook one strawberry after another. And when her mother offered to braid her hair, she nodded excitedly and climbed onto the stool without hesitation. She's wonderful, your mom said later that evening as you stood beside her in the kitchen drying dishes. I know, you said, watching Hyun out the window as she ran around with your father, pretending to chase butterflies. She reminds me of you when you were 5, full of spirit, so much heart. You smiled softly. She glanced at you then, a knowing look in her eyes. And he loves you. You nodded, a lump in your throat. So do you love him? You paused, the towel in your hands going still. More than I know what to do with. She turned fully to face you, her expression tender, wise. She placed a gentle hand on your cheek. Then marry him. You blinked. What? We trust you, always have. We know your heart, and anyone who can make you look at someone the way you look at him deserves to be part of this family. Your eyes burn. It's still new. Everything is happening so fast. Haeun, him, us. Sweetheart, she interrupted gently. Your father and I got engaged 3 months after we met. Sometimes love doesn't knock. It walks right in, sits down, and makes itself at home. And that's what I see in your eyes every time you look at him, and in his, when he looks at you. You let out a quiet breath, turning your face into her palm. I just want to get it right. You will, because your love comes from a place that's already right. Later that night, after Haeun had fallen asleep curled between the two of you on the guest bed, Jungkook reached for your hand under the soft covers. I don't think I've ever had a day like this, he whispered, his voice hoarse with vulnerability. Where I felt whole. You turned to him in the darkness, heart aching with emotion. It felt like a dream. He brought your hand to his lips, pressing a long, slow kiss to your knuckles. Thank you for bringing me home with you. I never knew what it was like to have this family warmth. I lost my parents so early. I thought I would never feel that kind of love again. You leaned closer, resting your forehead against his. I'm scared, not of you, not of Haeun, but of not being enough. I don't know if I can be a good mother or a good wife. This relationship is still fresh, I'm trying. But sometimes I don't know if trying is enough. Jungkook's hand came up to your cheek, thumb stroking your skin with reverence. You didn't see yourself today. You didn't see the way you looked at Haeun. The way she looked at you like she had been waiting her whole life just to be held by. Father kept stealing glances at you, pride and warmth etched deep into his face. The judge smiled softly as he looked over the final documents. Do you, John Jungkook and Ryan, vow to raise Haeun with love, safety, and devotion? Jungkook squeezed your hand gently. We do. The judge nodded again. Then from this day forward, Haeun will be your daughter, not just in heart but in name and law. Tears blurred your vision as Haeun ran up the aisle and wrapped her arms around both of your legs. Are we a real family now? She whispered. Jungkook bent down to her level, voice thick with emotion. We always were, but now it's forever. Outside the sky had cleared, the sun cast golden light over everything as the three of you stepped down the courthouse steps, hand in hand, heart in heart. But that wasn't the end. A soft breeze carried the sound of laughter and camera clicks as your closest friends and family gathered in the garden for a small ceremony, simple, intimate, and perfect. You wore a white dress with delicate sleeves, nothing extravagant, but Jungkook looked at you like you were the only star in the sky. He wore a grey suit, his hair pushed back and tears in his eyes that he didn't bother hiding. When the officiant asked him for his vows, he turned to you and smiled. You gave me two gifts I never thought I deserved, your love and our daughter. I won't promise perfection, but I'll promise this. Every day, I'll choose you, both of you, again and again with all that I am. You whispered your vows back, voice shaking but sure. I used to be afraid of the unknown, but with you, every unknown feels like home. I don't know where life will take us, but I know I want to face it with you, as your wife, as Haeun's mother, as someone who finally found her forever. Haeun stood between you both, holding your hands as the rings slid on, tiny fingers laced between yours. And when the officiant said, "You may kiss your bride," Hyun scrunched up her nose and giggled. Ew, but okay, just one. You laughed through your tears as Jungkook leaned in and kissed you, soft, sure, and full of 1,000 unspoken promises. A family built not by blood but by love. Forever.